Over the years, SpaceX has launched more than 1,000 satellites in space, and they intend to do even more. But not everything comes out as a success. As of recent news, SpaceX satellites in China have trapped heat and also averted a major collision. Well, do you want to know more about this? Stay tuned in the video. Welcome to Tesla Stock News. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update on the ups and downs of the stock prices of Tesla or anything related to the multi-talented, influential tech icon and billionaire, Elon Musk. Amid rising caution by scientists and environmentalists over the congestion of the low Earth orbit and soaring threats of collisions, Elon Musk is facing online backlash from Chinese citizens after Beijing confirmed its space station was in danger from the Starlink satellites. In written compliance to the UN General Assembly, China said its under-construction space station had to perform invasive procedures twice after the Starlink satellites launched by SpaceX came in close vicinity. Starlink satellites launched by Space Exploration Technologies Corporation of the United States of America have had two close encounters with the China space station. For safety reasons, the China space station implemented preventive collision avoidance control on 1 July and 21 October 2021, respectively, the submission read. Musk has become a well-known figure in China, though Tesla's electric vehicle business has come under growing attention from regulators, especially after a customer climbed on top of a Tesla car at a Shanghai auto show in April to revolt against poor customer service. Musk's bumpy year in China ended on another bitter note. The tech billionaire's SpaceX satellites caught up in heat in the country after Beijing complained that two satellites launched by the American aerospace manufacturer jeopardized Chinese astronauts. In a report sent earlier last month to the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, China alleged that two SpaceX satellites flew too close to the country's space station this year, forcing the station to make elusive strategies to avoid the collision. The two events constituted dangers to the life or health of astronauts aboard the China space station, according to the report, which said the incidents happened in July and October. China filed its complaint to the UN a few months ago, but the bouts didn't gain broad attention in the country until a few weeks back. Beijing impeached the United States for inconsistent and unstable conduct in space over two close encounters between the Chinese space station and satellites operated by SpaceX. Earlier last month, China notified the United States General Assembly that its manned space station had to diversify its orbit to avoid collision with satellites launched by SpaceX, calling on the world body to remind the United States to bear responsibility as per global covenants. The U.S. ignores its obligations under international treaties, posing a serious threat to the lives and safeties of astronauts, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian said at a routine briefing on Tuesday. Starlink, which is a sector of SpaceX, runs a constellation of close to 2,000 satellites that aims to provide internet access to most parts of Earth. SpaceX is a private American company, autonomous of the U.S. military and civilian space agency, NASA. But China said in its note to the UN that members of the Outer Space Treaty, the foundation of international space law, are also accountable for actions by their non-government entities. According to the document, the first encounter happened when the Starlink 1095 satellite and the China space station came intimate on July 1st. The China National Space Administration had to perform an evasive technique to prevent a potential collision between the two spacecraft. The satellite Starlink was voyaging in orbit at an average altitude of around 555 kilometers. However, between May 16th and June 24, 2021, the Starlink 1095 satellite juggled continuously to an orbit of around 382 kilometers, China said. The second close battle occurred on October 21 when the Starlink 2305 satellite had an ensuing close pass with the Chinese space station. Behind such incidents are projects such as the Elon Musk-owned SpaceX's Starlink constellation and rival Amazon's Project Kuiper. Both companies want to develop a web of low Earth orbit spacecraft that will beam down internet connectivity to anywhere on the planet. Scientists said such advancements not only increase the chance of collisions, but, particularly the satellite constellations, raise the chances of interference with astronomical research. The whole collision thing is known as the Kessler syndrome, named after NASA scientist Donald J. Kessler, who in 1978 spoke of a conjecture in which the orbit becomes so crowded that collisions between objects become highly likely, causing a cascade of debris that further increases more space crashes. The biggest risk with thousands of new satellites is that two satellites could collide, create more fast-moving debris, which could then collide with other satellites. There are currently only 3,000 or so active satellites in orbit. With tens of thousands of more satellites, collisions become more likely. Most of the risk is to satellites in orbit. With enough debris, all of our satellites could be destroyed, Dr. Samantha Lawler, Assistant Professor of Astronomy, Campion College, University of Regina, Canada, told Hindustan Times. For safety reasons, the China space station implemented preventive collision avoidance control, China said in a document published on the website of the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. The ailments have not been independently confirmed. SpaceX did not instantly respond to a request for comment. The topic also captivated some 90 million viewers on Weibo, a Twitter-like social media service in China. Many users decried the U.S. Starlink satellites. One person denounced the network as a rogue project and a kind of monopoly in the space race. Another charged the United States with provoking trouble. Beijing's grievance about Starlink provoked a fuss on Chinese social media of SpaceX's billionaire founder Musk, who is widely adored in China. One hashtag about the topic on the Twitter-like Weibo platform racked up more than 90 million views. How ironic that Chinese people purchase Tesla, providing large sums of money so Musk can launch Starlink, and then he nearly slams into China's space station, one user commented. "Prepare to boycott Tesla," said another Weibo user, echoing a common response in China to foreign brands anticipated to be acting contrary to national interests. Musk's electric car maker Tesla peddles tens of thousands of vehicles in China each month, though the firm's prominence has taken a blow this year following a spate of crashes, scandals, and data security concerns. This isn't the space mission that has nearly flunked, but there are many others, and that too in recent years. In October last year, a late Soviet satellite and an omitted Chinese rocket body slightly avoided a crash. A wreck would have directed to an eruption equal to exploding 14 metric tons of TNT. Jonathan McDowell, an astrophysicist at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, tweeted at the time. More recently, 7 astronauts and cosmonauts residing on board the ISS were urged to take shelter in their transport spacecraft on November 15th, after a Russian anti-satellite test generated a debris field in low Earth orbit. Days later, NASA called off a spacewalk on November 30th, after acquiring a notification that debris could endanger the astronauts outside ISS. In response, Musk tweeted, "We had to shift some Starlink satellite orbits to reduce the probability of collision. Not great, but not terrible either." Near misses between objects in space transpire all the time, and the noticeable close calls documented in China's report to the UN may be tokens of a larger problem afflicting spacefaring nations, because there is not an exact international solution for tracking and coordinating objects in space. With nearly 30,000 satellites and other debris assumed to be orbiting the planet, scientists have instructed the governments to share data to lessen the risk of awful space collisions. SpaceX alone has deployed almost 1,900 satellites to serve its Starlink broadband network and is scheduling even more. People across the U.S. are already wielding the new Starlink network, and it's quickly expanding across the globe as SpaceX launches more Starlink satellites and expands its service into new countries. And we aspire that such affairs don't happen in the future, and Elon Musk keeps moving on with good connections with other countries. Well, apart from our thoughts and beliefs, what do you think about this satellite's collision, and how will it affect SpaceX? Will they make a better comeback? Let us know in the comments below. And most importantly, if you like this video, then hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get a notification every time we make a new video about the latest trends in Tesla stocks. See you in the next one. Until then, peace.